So you've decided that you want to start making gaming YouTube videos. Well, that's fantastic. That's great. Now, the thing that you're going to need for this is a good microphone. The good microphone is the key to the whole endeavor because no one's going to listen to you if your audio sounds like crap. And I'm not necessarily talking about just a cheap microphone. I'm talking you're using your gaming headset's mic or something like that, or you're using the built-in mic on your laptop or whatever it is you're using. None of that flies. But every recommendation that I always see of microphones is always expensive microphones, and I don't understand why. Right here, this setup that I have for you guys, this is pretty much the cheapest setup for YouTube that I could possibly recommend while still maintaining good quality. All of this right here, and to get it to work with your computer, the grand total of it all is around $30. And with that, you get essentially the most flexible build you can possibly get. What I mean by that is that the microphone scales very well, the arm itself scales very well, and the way that it interfaces with your computer is so versatile that you pretty much get the best possible setup for under $50. So let's start about the mic. The Pile Pro PD Mic 58. Now that is a clone of the Shure SM58 microphone that pretty much is legendary in the industry. Now, being a clone, it's not as durable, it's not as reliable, and the sound signature is different. But for pretty much the price of the microphone, it competes with anything under $50, and it's very competitive still up to $100. Because the difference between that and the PD mic or the Shure SM58 is not so great that you would think of essentially paying 10 times the price. Because this microphone, when I bought it, was $10. Now, right now, it's gone up in price a bit to $20. But I have another microphone recommendation because these still drop to $10 every once in a while. And the other mic that I'm going to recommend is also $10. But for right now, we'll talk about why this setup is great. This setup is great because the sound quality you get from it is pretty much going to blow away anything that you're going to get for something under $20. Everything else that I see that is under $20 has one issue, and that is the fact that they cheap out on the mic itself. And pretty much the mic is the lifeblood of your channel. It's the way that you interface with your audience. You want that to be as good as possible. So, what we went for is the best that we can possibly find under $20. Now, the boom arm itself right here, this is the newer scissor suspension arm. Now, this you see everywhere now because they're so cheap, and their only competition is really the what's called the Rode PSA 1, and that is $100. This you can find for $10. The most you're going to be paying for it is $15. And what you get is essentially the most versatile way of holding any microphone because you can put this kind of microphone in it, you can put a condenser microphone on it. It doesn't really matter what you're going to put on it. It's strong enough to hold up to a Yeti, and we'll talk about why I don't recommend getting a Yeti in a little bit. But yeah, so the arm itself, fantastic. Now, the way that the microphone is going to interface with your computer is very important because if we're trying to keep this as cheap as possible, then we're going to have to make some sacrifices here. Now, the plug for the microphone itself that it comes with is one of these. And this right here is a 1/4-inch plug. Now, there is no computer that you're going to have that has a connection like this. And that's fine because we don't want to plug this directly into the computer anyway. What we want to use is this. This is a Sabrent USB audio adapter. It's essentially a little sound card with a plug for speakers and a plug for microphones, and that's what we want. Because dynamic microphones like that don't require much power, but they still require just a little bit to get the extra sound out of them. And if we plugged that directly into a computer, chances are it's not going to get enough power to really give you a full sound, and it may end up being too quiet. What this does is it provides up to around 2.5, maybe even 3 volts to the microphone, and that I found gives it pretty much the extra volume and the extra fullness to the sound that you want. So pretty much this is how it's going to interface. Now, you look at this plug and you wonder, how the hell is that going to fit in there? Well, the way that this is going to fit in here is you just get a adapter. You can get one, like what I recommend is actually getting the kind that is the full-size plug and then a wire that you plug in directly here. You don't want to directly interface with it, because if you get the adapter that just clips onto here and you plug it in, this is already going to be pretty heavy, so it's going to start to flex this and it could potentially snap. So just get the kind that is a wire. So one plug will plug in here, it extends out as a wire, and you plug the other end right there. That way it'll be plugged into your computer, this will just be hanging down and it'll work just fine, I promise you that. Now, we've talked about how it's going to interface with your computer. Now we're going to go into detail why exactly we're going with this microphone exactly. Well, it beats pretty much everything in its price range. That's a big plus right there. But also we get the versatility of it being XLR. Now, why do we want XLR? Well, because if you go the route of a USB microphone, it pretty much becomes useless as soon as you go to upgrade your setup in any way, whether it's getting an audio interface or trying to get a mixer or anything like that where you want to do more with what you already have. You can't do it. USB is limited to just being USB, and that has its benefits, yes. But what we want is to spend the least amount of money and get the most out of it. And USB just isn't that, because it's so not flexible enough to really do anything. Now, the other reason we're going with that is because it's a dynamic microphone. Now, I don't recommend using anything like a condenser microphone for videos, which, I mean, I'm being kind of hypocritical for using one right now, but that's because you're seeing that microphone there. And the reason we don't want to use condenser microphones is because of the fact that they pick up a lot of background noise. Yes, they give you the most accurate sound to your voice, but you're sacrificing essentially the isolation you get from dynamic microphones. Dynamic microphones really only pick up what's right in front of them, and they isolate a lot of the noise around you very well. And that pretty much is the key to this, because you'll listen to hundreds of people's videos out there and you'll hear like a background noise. Like you'll sometimes get like a little like noise hiss, and that's just the ambient noise, because you may not realize this, but your room is probably noisier than you actually think. So unless you have a very, very well sound treated room, you're gonna have issues using a condenser microphone. I mean, this right here is the audio, or the M Audio USB producer microphone. This is what I used for years making my videos. And when I look back at those videos, the audio quality is absolutely garbage. I can tell you exactly why. It's garbage because of the fact that this picked up way too much ambient noise, and being USB, it can actually run into noise interference. And that's pretty much something you don't want to have to deal with. So, this microphone cost me $100 when I bought it about 3 or 4 years ago. This is pretty much useless now. In my entire setup, there's nowhere that it fits, because there's nowhere that a USB microphone will fit in. And I just dropped another microphone here. But let me show you the other microphone that I recommend alongside that, and it is this. This right here is the PD Mic 78. It's essentially the brother of that microphone. Now, what's great about this microphone is the fact that it's cheaper. This one right now on Amazon is definitely going for $10. And you're pretty much getting relatively the same sound quality. It's just the fact that this one for sure is going to need a pop filter. Get a pop filter for both of them, but for sure you're not using this without a pop filter. Now, that one's pretty much a clone of the SM57, and while it's not exactly designed for vocals, it's more designed to be, recording instruments and things like that. It works fantastic for vocals. It's pretty much the same as that, and you're going to be getting the versatility of it where you can use it for any situation, whether it's you want to start recording yourself and a friend together, whether you just want to have a microphone that can work anywhere you go, whether you're going to a friend's house and you want to use their mixer or anything like that, you get the versatility. And either one of those microphones you can get for $10, $15. Let's say at most you're paying $15 because I recommend you look around, and if you can find either one of them, whichever one is cheaper, get that one because it's going to work out just fine for you. This is a setup that I've recommended to a lot of friends, and they've used it, you know. And I'll give you guys a little bit of a sound demo of what these sound like in a little bit, but I want to go just a little bit more into detail about what is going on here. The microphones themselves have a issue in that they don't have a transformer like the Shure microphones do, so they do run a little hotter. And what I mean by that is that they get to the point where they peak very quickly. So you don't want to be yelling into them just from the get-go. You want to make sure your sound levels are just right, and I recommend that you spend time setting your sound levels because that's essentially, again, the lifeblood of your channel. You don't want to just be, screaming into these. They do sell compressors, and you can use compression software to tame that because here's the tip, guys. You want to be quieter in a video than louder. And what I mean by that is it's fine if in a recording you're quieter than you thought you were because you can always boost the audio. But if you clip in a video, that's it. That recording is gone. And the reason for that is because once audio clips, that's it. It's over. There's no going back to it because the distortion is already there. It doesn't matter if you bring down the volume or anything like that. The audio recording is ruined because you already clipped. Now, some people are fine with clipping. People scream into their microphones all the time anyway, and they get distorted to all hell. But what you want to do is bring a sense of professionalism. Even if you're being more casual in your recordings, you don't have to, be super serious about everything. But when you bring in professional audio into your recordings, you give people a sense of professionalism. You don't just seem like the regular kid that you see trying to make YouTube videos because you're not that person. What you are is someone who is trying to take this seriously, and you don't have to be a serious person to take this seriously. You could just treat it like you got to treat it like you care. That's what I'm telling you right now. You got to treat it like you care because that's the only way that you're going to have fun with this. If you just sit down and you start recording using your laptop microphone or anything like that, you're going to find that you're not getting the feedback that you wanted from your audience because nobody likes good or bad audio. Everybody loves good audio. Even people that aren't aware of it want good audio. You want an example of that? Look at any video out there that has horrible video quality but great sound. Chances are you could probably stand that more than a video that has amazing video quality but awful audio. If it sounds like somebody's talking in their restroom, then you're probably not going to sit around and watch it, and it's just because that's unpleasing to our ears and we just tend to click away. So take your audio seriously, guys, if you're going to start doing YouTube, and if you do stick with it, you're going to have a lot of fun with it. I can promise you that. So let's get to the audio demo of this. All right, testing out the Shure SM58 microphone. It might seem a little quiet right now compared to the other microphone, and that is probably because of the fact that the other one is a condenser microphone. It's getting phantom power. This one pretty much is just plugged into the computer. It's going, and while it's quiet, you can actually boost the audio in post-production and get pretty damn good sound because it's not picking up a lot of background noise. There is a computer going on right now. It's not picking up really any noise that I can hear because I can monitor myself. But yeah, I like the sound quality of these a lot more than I was expecting to. I bought these to be throwaway microphones because originally what I was using was the ATR 2100 by Audio-Technica, and that cost me around $40 to get back when they were relatively cheap. But at this point, they're pretty expensive, and this pretty much competes with it really, really well. So yeah, check these mics out. They're all in the description. Everything that I showed is in the description. No affiliate links or anything. I just want you guys, if you're going to get started on YouTube, to have a decent setup. And I've recommended this to a lot of friends. They've gotten it. They've been happy with the results. I've been happy with the results. And I hope you guys are happy with the results. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye.